For this project, I used a 19 by 19 inch frame that I had picked up at a garage sale. I removed the clips, I removed the cardboard, and I removed the glass. And then I flipped the picture frame over and I painted it a pretty burgundy red. I let this dry overnight, and then I took Elmer's glue and put it around the perimeter of the back of the frame where the glass would sit. Then I replaced the glass and I put the Elmer's glue one more time around the perimeter, this time on top of the glass. Now this serves two purposes. It holds the glass in place and it helps to prevent any resin leaks. After the glue had dried, I took a product called DIY Big Top After Show. It's a DIY product, and it's a sealer for paint. And I should have done this before I replaced the glass, but I totally forgot. So I put the painter's tape in there just so that it wouldn't get all over the glass, and I gave it one coat. And this is a real nice sealer for paint. It just takes one coat and it usually will dry within a half an hour. Then I had got this stencil online. It was through Amazon, and it's Rudolph Company, Fine Reindeer Treats, and I thought it was really cute. And I actually cut it up and made the top of it shorter and the bottom of it shorter so that it would be right up against the edge of the glass, so I would have room in the middle to put a reindeer. And what I'm using, I'm not a very good paint stenciler. If you are, go ahead and do it that way. But I've been using these black Sharpie oil-based markers, and they do not interfere with the resin at all. They don't run with the resin. Now, acrylic paint doesn't either. So if you are okay with using acrylic paint stencils, then by all means do that. I seem to do better with these Sharpies. And I just go ahead and trace the whole thing out and then fill it in. If you should happen to get it somewhere you don't want it, just wait till it dries and then you can remove it with a razor blade. If you do choose to use these Sharpie, oil-based Sharpie markers, the big thing about them is just draw with it. Do not press, because if you press, you'll get a pool of the ink and it will seep under the stencil. So that's the bottom done, and I did the same thing to the top. When I was done stenciling, I flipped it over and I took painter's tape and I put it around the perimeter of the back, and this is to help prevent any more resin leaks. Even though you have the glue on there, painter's tape is a good idea. And then I had found some free clip art, and I traced out a reindeer. I had to change it up a little bit, and I taped this to the back of the glass so that I could see it from the front. And I had to move it around a couple times just so that I could get it centered. I have a problem with centering things, and I wanted it to look just so. Then I took Elmer's glue and I went ahead and I traced out the entire reindeer, and then I took these 4mm crystals that it's rhinestone chain they call it, and I put it around, tracing over where I put all the clear Elmer's glue. And this does have to be cut at points, and you'll see the black handled scissors that I have there. It's a heavy duty scissors that I also picked up on Amazon, and that's what I cut it with. And I followed all the way around the perimeter, and then for the feet, the hoofs, I used the black 4mm rhinestone chains to create those. Then I decided I needed to remove some of the rhinestones by his nose and just make a red nose with the 2mm rhinestone chain, and I just had to kind of piece it in there till I got it the way I wanted it. And then I had to go ahead and replace the rhinestones that I had removed from his neck and his lower jaw. Next, I took a little bit of Elmer's glue for his eye and took the 2mm black rhinestone chain and just made a little eye. And then I took this crushed glass. It's Ashland decorative filler, and it's gold crushed glass that I had picked up at Michael's, and it was seasonal. I think it's autumn, it says, so it should still be at the store. If you want some, it would be good to go get it now. And I just filled in. And it's easier to direct this glass by putting it in a folded piece of paper and then kind of putting it out like that instead of just picking it up with your hand and putting it in. And so next I took some more Ashland decorative filler, and this is the regular silver, clear silver Ashland decorative filler, and I just put it on his belly and on his chest to make it look white. Next I had to make his antlers, and what I used for that was vitrigraph glass. So vitrigraph glass, it's hard to say, is long pieces of glass that I picked up on Etsy, and you can get it in multiple colors. Gosh, I want to say it's like $15 for 4 ounces, but you really do get quite a bit of glass. And so I was just trying to kind of follow the lines of his antlers and cut those and try to make it look like antlers, and I think it turned out really nice. So it took me a few minutes and I cut several pieces, and everything that I'm using in this video I will link under the description. So most of the stuff was either from Michaels or from Amazon. So I did mess around with these antlers for a while, and then I ended up taking the piece of paper off the back of it. I thought I could see it a little bit better. And then the next day it was ready for resin. So I mixed the resin up. The resin I'm using for this project is art resin. It's a 1-to-1 ratio resin. You have to mix it slowly for 3 minutes. I usually drizzle it over the glass first, and then I put it around the perimeters to make sure I get it in the corners and around the edges. Although it says it's self-leveling, it really isn't. You have to make sure you push it up into the corners and the edges, or else you'll have some empty spots. And I usually use a spoon to move it around, and sometimes my gloved hand. And sometimes the little pieces are easier to keep in place once you get the resin on. So you can see I rearranged the antlers after I put the resin on. Then I use the heat gun to get rid of the bubbles, and you really have to get down and look at it from all angles to make sure you don't miss anything, because what you see from one side you might not see from the other. And I usually use a toothpick to get everything out of anything that's in the resin out, like hairs or any kind of sediment. To sit on a flat level surface overnight. Usually after 12 hours you can touch it. It takes a full 72 hours to cure at temperatures between 72 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It's in your best interest to cover it with a dust cover when you're done. Hey everyone, I'm wearing my Christmas shirt, even though, as you can see by all the pumpkins and that behind us, it's not even, it's actually not even Halloween yet. But I'm showing you all my Christmas stuff. So I think this turned out so cute. The Rudolph. And I just wanted to show you a few things. I really like the way he turned out. So this vitrigraph glass that I'm talking about, I picked it up on Etsy. I want to say it was from J&L Glass, and it's about 4 ounces you get, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, for like $16, I think. So it comes in a little package like this, and it's always packaged so that it's not broken. And then there's these strands in here. Let me get it all out so you can see how much you actually get. But it's really cool. You can use it for all different things. Things that you think, oh, what could I make this out of? Like, for example, the antlers. Oh, there's even more in here. There's some more smaller pieces. So this is, I'm gonna push. Can you see it? So that's about 4 ounces. There's a few more small pieces in there. I'm just gonna set that back down. And it comes in a box like this, and it's always packaged with a lot of cushion so it's not all broken. They're nice long strands that you can choose from. And of course, like I said, that's what I use for the antlers, and it comes in all different colors. And I wanted to show you this from the back. Now, I'm terrible about finishing the back of projects, so I had just given this a real quick paint job. But look at how cute it even looks from the back. And this is that rhinestone chain, and from the back it's gold. Can you see that? It's so cool. So this rhinestone chain is the 4mm, and I'm going to show you what the difference is. This one is the 4mm, and that's the 2mm. And I used the 4mm, but I guess you could use the other if you wanted to. But anyway, he turned out so cute. And the glass that I used is the Ashland decorative filler. Now this is of course the red ones, but it also came in the gold. And the gold is fall, autumn. So I guess once they're out, they're out. But they do, I believe, always carry a sand color with some reflective gold properties to it, which would work just as well. So, and somebody, I guess, had messaged me from Australia and said, you know, any ideas on what to use, because they don't have a Michaels there. So, I don't know, you could use like little tiny, I was thinking maybe tiny gold seed beads would look real pretty, you could use. I don't know, do you guys have any ideas for that? But anyway, and of course for the stenciling, I use the oil markers. And it's just because I'm a terrible stenciler. But I mean, you guys, if you don't have any problems with stenciling, you could use the regular acrylic paint, which most people stencil with acrylic paint, not me. But I don't know, the stenciling I thought turned out good. And you just let it dry, and you can remove any areas that you don't like with the a razor blade. Anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. If you go ahead and subscribe, you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.